Okay, so let's get started. So we'll do a few more questions, then there's going to be an exercise. So this question, how do I translate what I've lived into words that the clients will understand? Who asked that? All right. Right. How do we translate what we've lived into words that clients can understand? Through story is how. There's a great colleague of mine, Lisa Bloom, storycoach.com. Story-coach, and Lisa Bloom, Story Coach, you'll find her. She does a lot of courses on this around how do you take all your thoughts, your ideas, translate them into words people can understand. At the end of the day, this is how humans understand things, is story. Come on in. So I'm trying to think, there's also the, if you go to, on my website I've got an ebook called Crystal Clear, which is about how do you articulate what you do, particularly as a service provider. How do you articulate what you do? And then also, how do you translate what you've lived into words that your client will understand is, there's a lot of work I've done around point of view marketing. Under my webinars, there's one called the Point of View Advanced. I think it's a series of 5 webinars. But fundamentally, the answer to this comes down to clarify your point of view, communicate it through stories. That's the large answer. There's a lot of work. Once you get there, it's very simple. But it can take some heavy lifting to do both of those things. But those are the resources I'd suggest checking out. Okay, how do I start my ideal client page? How niche specific does it need to be? Okay, so an ideal client page is this idea that on a website you would have a page where it's not your bio, it's kind of their bio in a way. It's like, hey, is this your story? Are you this kind of person? You've gone through these things. I've got one example on my website. This is something I will be doing, is creating a little ebook or product on this, because there's lots of examples of it. But basically, you want it that when people go to your website, your ideal clients would read it and say, that's me. Yeah. Like the homepage of your website, that's not about you. It's about them, fundamentally. That's the big mistake people make on the homepage. If they get to the homepage, if my name is this and I do this, that's not as compelling as, are you this person struggling with this, wanting this result? But then it's nice to have a page where it goes a bit deeper. And I wish I had a bunch of examples of them. I know I've seen a bunch. I will be collecting them. But actually one of the exercises we'll be doing will give you the 5 elements that I think go into it. So we'll save it for that. And then the last one that we're going to go into the exercise is, can you give some more examples of your idea of a good pitch? After all the prep, providing great services, a talk or whatever it is, right? How do you pitch?
Can you define the word pitch?
Yeah, I don't know if I can. That's a good question. I mean, it's the I suppose it's not a word I use myself very much. But it's the moment where you're trying to convince people to buy what you have. That's probably why I don't use the term, because that's not how I relate to marketing. But I know I used it in that example of the sort of good pitch, bad pitch. Yeah. I tend not to think of it as pitching. I tend to think of it more just as sharing. I'm just sharing something. Or maybe I'm pitching and they can catch it or not. Like I'm pitching a ball. Like, here's what I've got. And it's up to them if they want to catch it. So a few thoughts around this idea of sharing what we do. Because there is a point where you actually do want to talk about what you do. Because this is a mistake I see. People say, oh, I got to the end of my workshop and I didn't talk about the programs I have coming up. I keep forgetting. No, you forgot the first time. Then it was a choice. But I was at a friend's workshop and literally it was as people were leaving, she's closing the blinds and she said, oh yeah, I've got an herbalism workshop coming up. So, so at some point we do need to talk about it. That could be after a presentation, during a presentation. It could be you've worked with somebody one-on-one, and maybe there's a next level, something that you want to broach it with them. So take it separately. I think when it's in front of a group, especially if it's cold, they don't know you, this is the first time, I probably wouldn't be generally suggesting, hey, come to my $10,000 thing. It would be, what's a simple next step for them? Often something free. Check out my starter kit. I mean, I'd share the membership because it's not outrageously expensive. But if I had something that was $1,000 a month, I don't know if I'd be talking about it here. I'd probably just say, thanks for coming to the workshop. Here's the next step you can take. I don't know, it depends. So that's one, is not pitching too high with a cold group. But also the main thing is, when people wonder about this pitch, how do I share it? Again, all the emphasis gets put on the sharing the thing. And I think the emphasis needs to be on sharing the point of view. Not making the case that they sign up with you, making the case for the approach to it. Because then when you do the sharing of what you are offering, you can just say, if this all resonates with you, we do it in here. And here's how. A few things I think are helpful, especially if it's for the membership at $100 a month. I don't do this too much, but if it is a higher thing, we want to filter really carefully. So we say, look, here's what this is and here's what it isn't. Here's who it's for, here's who it's not for. Here's how I do it, here's how I don't do it. Just anything that you think they need to know to make a decision for themselves. So I'm not trying to convince them, I'm just trying to give them the information they need to decide. And then it's good to also think about lowering the risk. So in this case, I already have their attention. I'm presenting. So then it's the filtering. This is, the relevance. This is who it's for and not for. Is that for you? If it's not, you can tune out now. If it is, then you might want to say, here's some of my credibility. But most of that is really handled in the presentation. If there's something else you feel like you need to add, you can add it. And then the value is just, well, here's what's involved. Here's what's included. Here's all the stuff. Are there any questions? I tend to have a very light touch on the pitch because I don't think that's what makes people decide to buy or not. I think they've usually decided already, and now it's, logistics. If it's one-on-one, then I think it's good to just make it time to talk with them about it directly. And where it's something like, I have this program, I have this thing, I think you might love it, I think it could be a really good fit for you, I'm not sure. Would you be able, can we make some time to talk? Can I give you my pitch, or can I take you out for lunch, or can I send you some info on it? Yeah, but you'll notice some of the phrasing that I use there. Some of the phrasing that I use there, it sounds very offhanded. This is helpful. There's a couple of videos. If you just search Tad Hargrave pressure-free phrases, or no, pressure-diffusing phrases, something like this. On YouTube, pressure-reducing phrases, or it's something like that. But there's a number of phrases, and it sounds offhand, but I'm using these intentionally. People think in traditional sales that one of the biggest skills you need to have is how to overcome objections. I fundamentally disagree. I think the biggest skill we need is the skill of noticing when there's pressure in the interaction and diffusing it. Or speaking in such a way that we're always hitting the release valve. So the pressure isn't building up. Everyone try this. Put your hands together like this. And push as hard as you can with your right hand. Push with your right hand. I didn't say push back. Okay, and then grab the wrist and pull as hard as you can with your right hand. Yeah, okay, so some of you did this or this, but for the most part it was this and this. Isn't that funny? I didn't say resist, but you did. By the instructions, that should have happened and that should have happened. Yeah, I just said pull, but you pulled back, you pushed back. So this is what happens in human interactions all the time. People start to feel cornered, pressured, etc. And as soon as that's happening, you're no longer in a conversation, you're in a pitch. So that's I guess the alternative I'd offer to a pitch is just have a human conversation with people. But to do that, we need to reduce the pressure. There's phrases like, no pressure. I don't know if this is a fit. All things in divine timing. I know you're really busy. There's a lot of things we can just say just to take the heat off of it so that they can relax. And then you're in a human conversation about it.
Where is the point where you can't encourage someone to commit? So if I'm thinking
Encourage them to what?
Commit. Commit in a sense of coaching relationship, wanting them to commit for a number of sessions and gauging their so that they can have a valuable coaching experience. So where's the point of talking about that when you're doing this sharing?
Okay, so the question, what about, when is the moment to encourage them to commit, or how do you do that?
Yeah.
I don't. I really don't. I would probably discourage them from committing. It's just like, look, this is what this is. I mean, here's the testimonials, here's responses from people. This is a lot of work. Think about this. If you're unsure, we can talk it through. But you do need to be sure about this, because this is going to ask a lot of you. So if anything, I'm discouraging. I mean, I might say, look, yes, I think this can help, but my goal is that we get to the truth. Is this a fit for them right now? And that can include me saying, I'm concerned you don't have the space in your life to do this. There are a limited number of spaces in this thing. And I want people who are in to really get value from it, and I'm not sure you can right now. Like, can you commit to this? I'm not encouraging it, I'm checking in. I'm really wanting to know. If anything, I'm not encouraging or asking, I'm insisting on it. The only people who can do this thing are people who are committed to it. And this isn't me reverse psychologying you to want to get in. I'm just saying, I don't want to work with somebody that's not in. And if you're not in, that's fine. It's okay. I mean, who the fuck am I? Why should you be in on my thing? For no reason at all. So there's really no pressure on this. But maybe sleep on it. Let me know. Think about it for a week, get back to me. But this is where we have all the information. Here's the sales letter. Here's all the details. The heavy lifting is not in the moment of getting them to commit. The heavy lifting is on the clarity. It's on the depth. Do we have our niche really sorted? Do we have the point of view laid out? Do we have a very clear offer so that they can make the decision? Because, of course, they want things from us, but there's their side of the bargain and there's our side of the bargain. My side of the bargain is this is what I'm offering. Yeah? I'm offering this weekend retreat. I'm offering this membership. I'm offering this apprenticeship. This is what I'm offering. It includes these things. This often. Here's the materials you get. All this. Here's your side of the bargain. This is what I need from you. And if you can't do that, don't sign up. But if you are, then there's a fucking fit. It's a match. That's wonderful. So then you celebrate, but it's not as soon as we have this agenda, I did a video years ago called Stop Hoping They Choose You. Again, dating advice.
I mean, it's self-sabotaging.
It's very
looking for clients in the wrong places or the wrong type of client.
Yeah. Wanting anyone to become a client, it's human. It's just not helpful. Hoping they pick you is very human, but it's not going to help. The better thing to do is because then it puts all the heat on that person. And that's an insane amount of pressure to put on this person. So it's better to say, okay, who do I want in this program? What kind of people do I want? Where do I find a lot of them? How do I get in front of a bunch of them? So that I'm not desperate. So I have a plan to reach enough people so I know it's going to fill. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about getting the right people in it. Or I'm not even worried about it. I'm just intentional about getting the right people. If you create a business model, a structure, a plan, so that you get in front of the attention of enough of the right people, and you filter well, you don't have to be desperate about it. But if you're relying on, well, I just randomly meet people, or I've got my list and it's not that big, and it has to be these people. See, that's where the manipulation comes. Do you need clients? Yes, that's not the problem. Do you need this person to become a client? That's the problem. As soon as I need it to be you, or you all in this room. But let's just say I had a weekend workshop coming up, which I do, but it's sold out in London. But let's just say I did, and I was trying to fill it up, and you were my last hope. You know what I'm saying? It's happening like next weekend, and I'm busy all week, and I don't have any time. And oh my God, if I don't get all of you in, that's fucked up. Yeah, the pressure you will feel on that from me needing you to sign up is overwhelming. I might get you to do it, but you'll regret it, and so will I. You know, disappointment for you, drama for me. Yeah. So that's my sense on that. Okay. So let me give you another exercise. So again, you're going to be thinking about which of those you want to do. The niche, point of view, business model, hub market. Now you might want to stick with the same one. You might want to do a different one. Up to you. There are 4 exercises. Oh, that's on my phone. Right.